The conventional narrative about AI and employment is incorrect. The framework presents a false binary. AI either replaces workers or augments their productivity. This analysis is obsolete. It fails to identify the actual mechanism at work. AI is executing wage compression across knowledge work sectors, not replacement, not augmentation, compression. This is a structural economic shift, not a transitional phase. Observe the historical pattern. From 2000 to 2020, compensation in skilled categories, software development, legal analysis, financial modeling, data science, increased consistently. The driver was scarcity. These competencies were rare, difficult to acquire, and essential to business operations. Workers possessed monopolistic leverage over critical functions. This created premium pricing power. That scarcity no longer exists. AI has eliminated the supply constraint entirely. The economic logic is straightforward. If automated systems execute these tasks at higher speed, greater accuracy, and near zero marginal cost, premium human compensation becomes economically irrational. Market forces eliminate it. The protection mechanism that maintained elevated salaries has been destroyed. This creates a structural paradox. AI capability follows an exponential growth curve, while human compensation encounters a hard ceiling or negative trajectory. The cause is fundamental to market economics. Systems allocate resources based on scarcity. When scarcity evaporates, price collapses. The specialized skills that commanded premium compensation are no longer scarce. AI has converted them into abundant resources. Abundance destroys price power. When universal access to capability exists, individual possession of that capability holds minimal value. Excellence becomes the baseline expectation, not a differentiator. Irreplaceability is the only remaining source of pricing power. AI is systematically eliminating irreplaceability across knowledge work categories. Scene 2. Commoditization of competence. Analyze the value proposition of a mid-level financial analyst. Compensation range, $70,000 to $90,000 annually. Value drivers, processing speed, analytical accuracy, pattern recognition from accumulated experience. Current state, AI systems execute 90% of these functions at 50 times human speed. Deployment cost, subscription fees of $10 to $50 monthly, plus minimal computing infrastructure. Total annual cost, under $1,000. Human equivalent, $70,000 to $90,000 plus benefits, facilities, and training overhead. The cost differential is not competitive, it's eliminative. Model this as intersecting sets. Set A, human capabilities. Set B, AI capabilities. The intersection represents commoditized functions, tasks both can execute adequately. 5 years ago, this intersection was minimal. Today, it encompasses the majority of knowledge work tasks. Commoditization follows predictable economics. When multiple suppliers can deliver equivalent outputs, price converges toward marginal cost. In this case, marginal cost approaches zero for AI, while human marginal cost remains tied to biological constraints and living expenses. The remaining 10% of human-specific contribution, contextual judgment, novel problem-solving, complex stakeholder management, does not justify previous compensation levels. The competence floor has risen to meet what was previously the competence ceiling. Exceptional performance has been redefined as baseline expectation. One skill category maintains pricing power, orchestrating AI systems effectively. This includes precise prompting, output validation, bias detection, and workflow integration. However, this represents a narrow specialization, not a mass-market skill set. The labor market cannot absorb millions of workers into this category. The bifurcation is binary. Either you command AI systems, defining objectives, allocating resources, evaluating outcomes, or you operate within them as a managed component. The first category is small and shrinking. The second category is large and offers limited compensation growth. Position yourself accurately in this taxonomy. Self-assessment failure leads to strategic misallocation of career capital. Scene 3. The demand shift. Corporate demand patterns reveal the actual dynamic. Organizations do not seek workforce reduction when they can achieve output multiplication at reduced cost. They optimize for total value creation per dollar of labor expense. Examine the mathematics. One senior analyst generates $200,000 in annual value. Cost, $200,000. Value to cost ratio, 1-to-1. With AI augmentation, that analyst generates $1 million in value. This appears to justify compensation increases. It does not. Competitive dynamics prevent this outcome. Alternative strategy: deploy 5 junior analysts at $60,000 each. Equip them with identical AI systems. Each generates $1 million in value. Total value, $5 million. Total cost, $300,000. Value to cost ratio, 16-to-1. The senior analyst's ratio, 5-to-1. The junior team's ratio, 16-to-1. The market selects for superior ratios. This is not negotiable. The senior analyst's work is not eliminated. It is devalued through replication. Their expertise, accumulated through years of development, is encoded into systems that elevate junior workers to near-equivalent output levels. The quality gap narrows to economically irrelevant margins. Junior workers do not match senior expertise in judgment or intuition. They do not need to. AI compensates for enough of the delta that organizations accept minor quality reduction for major cost reduction and output multiplication. Winner identification is unambiguous. Economic systems now favor volume amplified by technology over specialized expertise at premium cost. Scale defeats specialization. Quantity defeats quality when technology bridges the gap. If your value proposition depends on traditional role definitions or accumulated expertise without strategic positioning, you are competing against an unwinnable benchmark, yourself, but automated and replicated across lower-cost labor units. This is not about individual effort or skill development. These are structural economic forces that individual action cannot overcome. Demand persists. Demand for your specific labor at your current compensation does not. Scene 4. Adaptation failure. The majority response to this shift is strategically insufficient. The common adaptation: acquire AI tool proficiency, pursue certifications, become a power user. This is not adaptation. This is capitulation to operator status. The distinction is critical. Consider industrial production systems. 2 roles exist: system controller and system operator. The controller defines production objectives, resource allocation, quality standards, and output targets. The operator executes predefined tasks within the system's parameters. Most current AI adaptation training produces operators, not controllers. It develops proficiency in tool usage without strategic authority. This creates marginal value. Operators are replaceable. Their compensation reflects this. Proficiency in prompt engineering or AI analytics maintains short-term employment. It does not establish long-term security or pricing power. It converts you into a more efficient component within systems controlled by others. Sustainable value in AI-integrated economies requires control over the objective function. This means defining optimization targets for AI systems, identifying market inefficiencies that AI can exploit, setting strategic priorities that automated systems execute against. This demands systemic authority. Systemic authority is not technical skill. It is strategic positioning. It encompasses business model analysis, competitive dynamics, market positioning, resource allocation, and outcome definition. Systemic authority means establishing rules rather than following them, defining goals rather than pursuing assigned tasks, shaping outcomes rather than generating outputs. This requires competencies AI cannot yet automate: strategic thinking, stakeholder alignment, risk assessment, opportunity identification, system design. These are the functions that direct machine intelligence toward value creation. Assess your current position accurately. Are you a system input, A data source being processed, a task executor following instructions, or are you the directing intelligence that determines system objectives and resource deployment? This classification determines your economic trajectory. Most workers occupy the input category without recognizing it. This is the adaptation failure. The question is not whether to use AI. AI integration is mandatory. The question is whether you will be directed by AI-enabled systems or whether you will direct them. Few workers are positioned for the latter. Fewer still are actively repositioning themselves. This creates the bifurcation, a small class of system controllers and a large class of system components. Compensation follows this division absolutely.